Okay, so we are going into game number 1 on Belseer Vestige, spawning in the top left-hand corner of the map. We have our green Zerg player from Team Dignitas. It is Tefel. And in the bottom right-hand corner of the map, as our blue Protoss player, one of the strongest foreigners throughout the entire world, it is Alliance Naniwa.
Indeed it is. One of the prime Polish players, Tefel, is going to go up against one of, arguably the best Swede. Of course, Sase was also playing tonight in the Challenger League, but he didn't quite make it. He actually got 2-0'd by Shuttle. So Sase, we're going to see him again in the Challenger League group stages, which is good, because myself, Zoya, Maddles, and Nathanius will be casting the group stages, so it would be sick to see Sase there. Of course, not that good for him though. Very unfortunate that he wasn't able to beat Shuttle and wasn't able to take that easy way into the Premier League.
Speaking of fantastic Swedes, we just had another one get eliminated and going down to the Challenger group. Storzane just lost 2-0 to Todd. So both of them are going to fall down. And, you know, when you say the best players in Europe, you know, you talk about these two. Storzane, you talk about Sauce, so you bring up the Stefano and the Naniwas. I mean, those two getting eliminated, I think both were 2-0s. That's pretty shocking. You know, I saw Thorzane's tweet after he lost. You know, some days you don't play good Starcraft. Off the scene, you see an interesting opener here from Naniwa going up for that gateway first into a relatively quick double gas on 15. What are you're a Protoss player, Lily, and what are your thoughts on this opener?
Well, it's completely standard, actually. Every Protoss player has their own way of doing it. Some Protoss players like to get their first gas just a normal way and put 3 workers in there immediately, and some Protoss players like getting both gases before Cybercore and putting only 2 workers in each gas, and arguably it doesn't really make that much of a difference. If you get 2 gas geysers, you're likely gonna do something with your gas early on, so you will be getting an earlier mothership core, and you will be able to afford a Stalker and a mothership core early on, whereas if you only get 1 gas geyser, you're not gonna be able to afford your mothership core and a Stalker that early on.
We do see an early gas here from Tefel, not taking that really quick third base. He did get an Overlord Scout with you know, of the natural base not being taken, so he knows he needs to be a little bit more safe with that third base, delay it just a little bit. Flying into the main base, he's going to see that the Zealot actually got canceled from Naniwa. He has no scout out on the map. He just, you know, he was building one maybe to throw off Tefel, ends up canceling it, gets a really quick mothership core, starts that warp gate, and is going to be throwing down his natural nexus right now.
Yeah, you've got two options really with the build that Naniwa's doing with 4 workers and gas. As you can see, he did have enough gas to start his Stalker before the expansion, and that's really what the build usually does, is Stalker, Mothership Core, and use the Stalker for scouting around the map, dealing with the Zerglings, poking at the third base, maybe sniping an Overlord if you're really lucky. But Naniwa's going to take the economic approach to this, and will be dropping his Nexus before getting any kind of unit out of the gateway. The first unit rolling out there will be a Sentry.
Yeah, and that's pretty greedy play. If any form of timing attack were to hit, having, even with just a small amount of wings, that Sentry is at risk. We do see a really quick Twilight Council here as the first tech option is shown from Naniwa. I'll have to see where he wants to go with that. Speed just now being started for Tefel. Pulled all guys out of gas. He's got his main base saturated with 16 drones, 15 at his natural. Probably going to see him take his third base relatively soon. It just depends on, you know, where he wants to go with this. Does he want to go for the faster lair or the faster third base? The gas pull points to the faster third base, but we'll have to see. You know, it's all up to what Tefel wants to do.
It is, and you make a good point about how greedy it is to open with the Sentry. I've seen the games in WCS America yesterday, I believe it was, or the day before. It was the day before actually, where Moonglade was in a group with the SDC. Yeah. Crank and another Terran, Apocalypse it was.
Yes.
And Moonglade was actually able to take some games off of Crank with very cheesy strategies by just, you know, going 1 or 2 base at really quick speed, making a lot of Zerglings, and Crank just wasn't ready at his wall at all with any kind of block, and the Zerglings just ran by and won the game. So you're right, going for a Sentry, not any kind of unit that can block earlier on, it's greedy, it can cost you games.
And then he's playing Naniwa's playing a pretty greedy style overall right now. Still no Forge, not getting that +1, no cannons here to defend. He's going for a timing attack, 3 Zealots being warped in with the Mothership Core at this third base. There is the 1 Queen, only a few Speedlings out on the map. Looks like 10 total. The one queen's going to help out here, but there is no detection anywhere, no spores or anything to help defend against these DTs.
Luckily, evolution chambers are no longer required to build spore crawlers, so Tefel would be able to react a little bit earlier. His lair is not going to be finished in time. The lair is only halfway done right now, and the Dark Shrine is now finishing up. The first DTs are going to come in. Naniwa poking in with his Zealots, showing the Zealots to Tefel on purpose, making Tefel think that it's going to be some kind of Zealot Stalker attack, but here are the DTs. Tefel has now seen them. He's trying to block them. Look at that. Beautiful.
So
trying to
smart.
surround them with his Zerglings to delay them from getting anywhere. This is crazy. He's buying a lot of time for himself for his lair to finish, but his lair still needs another 5 seconds, and then even more time before an Overseer morphs in. Oh man, he's going to take a lot of losses.
Yep, third base looks like it's going to fall, and it does. Here comes the DTs there, going into the one's going into main base, one into the natural. The one thing I'm worried about for Naniwa is the counterattack. Yes, he's doing damage right now, but he has no units on the map right now. 2 DTs, 1 sentry, and a mothership core. He has to take all the roaches he just built. There are 7 on the field with 4 more on the way, with 31 lings, and just go for a counterattack. How is Naniwa going to hold this wall without cannons?
It's going to be difficult. He does have double forge now on the way, so he might chuck down a few of them, but you're right, he has no standing army at all. He's got 3 sentries. I don't even know if you can call that an army. He also has the mothership core, but the mothership core doesn't have a lot of energy. It only has 38 right now, a second ago. Going to be up to 41. But it's going to need another full in-game minute to be able to gain enough energy for that photon overcharge. And the photon overcharge, of course, so important. He's definitely not going to have that when Tefel will hit with his Zerglings and Roaches. Not that many Roaches in the army composition, though. That's going to be something that buys Naniwa more time.
And there are no upgrades either. Both players are on 0-0. Naniwa's got that double forge on the way of +1/+1, but there's no upgrades on either side right now. Roach speed's just about to finish, which is going to be nice. There is the one cannon here, a nice hallucination there. Going to get a scout of this army coming in here. Going to target right on that first pylon. There are plenty of pylons here to keep these units, or these buildings powered, as well as not supply block Naniwa. Here he goes, breaking through here. Some force fields do go down. Again, that mothership core so important. Still 25 energy from that photon overcharge. Cannon starting to get beaten on. More sentries being warped in to get those force fields. Immortal about to pop out. With this Immortal, he should be able to hold. He needs to land these force fields though. One sentry does fall finally. That Stalker is going to go down as well. The sentry count's getting so low, and some Lings slip through to the top. They're going to start beating on this Immortal. Mothership core needs 9 more energy for that photon overcharge. The Immortal is going to fall. Stalkers and sentries going to fall as well. What is Naniwa going to do to hold? He's just going to have to warp in DTs, it looks like, and clean this up.
Photon overcharge is now done. He needs to deactivate that immediately. Overcharge, overcharge. Don't lose any more units. There he goes. Photon overcharge is activated, and the last roaches are starting to take a lot of damage. Naniwa still sticking around in this game. He's got a good worker lead advantage. If he's able to stabilize on his 2 bases, he's in a pretty good position, but the second Immortal is a long way away. 1-1 will be finished up on his forges in a second, but the Photon overcharge alone just doesn't have enough DPS. But a DT has now been warped in. The Overseer has been killed off. The Nexus is getting focused though. The probes are getting pulled. Will they be able to stop the roaches from killing the Nexus? I don't think they will. The Nexus is down.
Yeah, the Nexus does fall. Nice job on Naniwa. He used the photon overcharge to target fire down that Overseer so his GTs could clean this up. Now let's do some damage losses here. Look at the resources scores. Naniwa has slightly lost less resources. If you look at the income tab, it's even harvesters, and the third base is just now being started from Tefel. Naniwa has that +1/+1. He has the tech advantage right now. If Naniwa can reestablish his natural base without this next attack wave killing him off, he's going to be completely fine. I mean, he will be slightly behind, but he won't be out of this game.
He's not out of the game yet if he can reestablish his second base, because the drone count of Tefel is so low, and Tefel, he's still not really droning up. He's on 42 workers to the 45 of Naniwa, so if Naniwa can somehow stabilize, he's in an alright position. A macro hatch, is that a macro hatch? Actually no, the third base is going down again, excuse me.
Just the third base. But the units are poking away here. Just one gateway is going to fall. That puts them down to 5 gates. Still plenty of production to hold on here. Nexus is just about to finish off. Where's the mothership core? It's going to push back these units. And Naniwa's going to hold. So again, income tab, it's completely even. If we take it the resources lost, Naniwa slightly lost more resources, but +1/+1 in favor of Naniwa. He's got the tech routes. He's got the Robo up. He's got the Robo Bay. He's got his Twilight Council already. He can make the Archons. He can do DT harass, which he did do at the third base, but was cleaned up. you know, Naniwa, he's not behind really that bad. I think Naniwa can make a comeback from here. I mean, it's not like he's been crippled to death.
No, he's not been. Losing the Nexus, of course, a heavy blow, but considering that Tefel had no natural and Naniwa kept most of his probes alive, he's actually in a pretty alright position. But the question is, does he know that? Does he know he's in an alright position? He warped in those zealots into the third base and saw that it had just rebuilt, saw that there were no drones mining there yet, and that probably made him pretty happy and really confident in his mid-game play.
Oh yeah, I mean, Naniwa's got to be feeling okay right now. Here comes some aggression. There are 3 Immortals, about to be 3 Immortals. This third one pops up, +2 attack on the way. There are a few sentries here. Photon Overcharge does go down. And try and snipe that pylon. I mean, like Tefel, he's trying to do as much damage as possible. He's trying to do any at all. And he's got the Overlord at that third base, so he's going to know when that expansion's taken. So Tefel is playing this perfectly right now. He's got his Hydras on the way. He's only got +1 Carapace following up, but Naniwa needs to get either an Observer or a Hallucinated Phoenix in this main base, scout the Hydralisk Den, scout the Hive, and he can start making Colossus and transitioning into the third base.
He could do that. In fact, he's gonna try to take his third base before going for the Robotics Bay. He wants to drop that Nexus, but there is an Overlord pooping creep there, which is always a cool thing to do. He's gonna delay that Nexus by another full minute. That's about the time it takes for the creep to recede and the Overlord to be killed. The Mothership Core is scouting in the middle of the map. Does see the Hydras, has to be careful because those Hydras kill a Mothership Core oh so quickly. Mothership Core very low HP, 60 shields and only 130 HP. And if those Hydras, even though very few in the army composition of Tefel, get below that Mothership Core, it's down really quickly. And the Mothership Core could be vital in the defense of Naniwa.
Huge supply block on Naniwa, delaying this first Colossus. No thermal lens just yet either. Oh, using the Contaminate on the Forge. I would have rather seen him use it on that robotics facility to delay that Colossus, but he probably did not know what was building. He hasn't seen the Robo Bay just yet. If we check his vision, no, he hasn't. So he doesn't know the Colossus on the way, but this is going to be a really tough hold from Naniwa. He's not going to be able to keep this third base up. He's going to have to, you know, delay that for as long as he can. He needs to get Colossus out. He's finally scouting with Hallucinated Phoenix. Again, the upgrades are so vastly in favor of him. He's about to have 2-2. If he can hold on for the first Colossus, he might be fine depending on Force Fields, just because he has such a huge upgrade advantage, but it's still going to be tough. Lean's coming forward here. No Force Fields go down. Nice Time Warp. Needs to cut this army in half. Good job so far. Again, no Thermal Lance. 2-2 still is so close to finishing. Hasn't finished just yet. These Immortals are wrecking these Roaches. Sentry energy is very low. He's warping in 5 more sentries to be able to hold this off. He needs to just delay as long as possible. More Force Fields going down. He's buying as much time as he can. +2 attack did finish, but +2 armor. So close to finishing. Blink about to finish as well, and it looks like Naniwa will hold with great Force Fields and great patience.
That blink is going to help him a lot. His 3 Stalkers will now be able to blink forward and chase the army down. Nah, not really, but pretty funny. Those 3 Stalkers will have blink at their disposal right now. Thermal Lens is finished in right now. As +2 is also finished, like you pointed out, Zoe. Naniwa now in a pretty good defensive position, able to make the defense, and now he's going to be able to expand to his third. His probe is still pretty low at 49. Not the ideal situation. The economic position for Tefel is a lot better, but he is sticking to this mid-game composition. Instead of expanding to a 4th and a 5th and going for Hive, he's going to go for broke. He's going to try to break Naniwa while he's low in supply. He doesn't want to go to the late game, Tefel, that is.
Well, the fact that he's on these low probes isn't so bad. If you look at his main base, it is completely mined out, so he's going to be saturated off these 2 bases. You know, it's not the ideal situation, but no 3-3 on the way just yet. First Vipers are here. Mothership Core does get killed off. Does get a Time War down at the last second. Here we go. There are some feedbacks going down. Nice grab on that first Colossus. Now we're going to micro it back, and it will be still alive. The Immortals are all pumped up right now. 3 Colossus with that Thermal Lance, and +2 is going to help out a lot. More Vipers coming forward here, and Naniwa's going to hold. He's down 90 supply to 198. The third base did end up losing all of its probes, so that's going to put him in a really sad situation. But he's still holding on. But look at the supply, literally, in 198 to 96. How much longer can Naniwa hold on?
Yeah, if he keeps on increasing his Colossus count and doesn't lose any, I actually think he can hold on for quite some time, and he might even win the game, even though, ooh, nice pick up here. Those Hydras misrallied, 4 or 5 of them going down, some Roaches biting the dust at the same time. But Tefel, very smartly morphing in some Vipers, but he needs more of those. 1 Viper, that's not going to make the difference. He has 2 at the moment, will have 3 in total. That's all actually an alright amount. 3 Vipers will be able to pull in the 3 Colossi, but if you have more Vipers, you can pull them in multiple steps. So you can pull once and then use another Viper to pull it even further back. And we just saw that Naniwa was just able to walk away with his Colossi, and he didn't even lose it after it got pulled.
Yeah, that's a good spot from Naniwa. No Storm on the way. I mean, Naniwa really can't afford it. He's starved as much as possible. He's warping in more Stalkers. I mean, the High Templar are useful for the feedback, so it's good that he has that. High Templar trying to come forward, get the feedback. Nice feedback on one of the Vipers, and it does get taken out, but there's so many into here. Force Fields do go down. 2 of the High Templar have fallen already. They're being micro back. They're morphing into an Archon. We're going to push forward here, trying to break Tefel. Try and break this hold on him. Another Viper does come forward here. Still those 3 Colossus and 5 Immortals in this army composition, but we're almost out of gateway units here. Naniwa on the verge of losing this army, but just such good patience and positioning. He's going to hold again.
He's going to hold, but every second that passes, Tefel is going to be catching up to him more and more in upgrades. It used to be 2-2 versus only +1 attack, was it? Or +1 defense? I'm not sure what was researched first. Armor was researched first. So it was 2-2 versus only +1 armor. And now Tefel is already researched +1 attack and is about to finish up +2 attack. So every minute that passes, Tefel is going to be catching up and up in upgrades. And he's got a really solid income on 4 bases. Whereas Naniwa, his push has to win him the game. If he loses anything now, it's not going to be able to be replaced.
If Naniwa can deny this 4th base and then go home, he'll be in an okay position, because if you look at the natural base of Tefel, he's mined out there, and his 3rd base is starting to get worn down. So, you know, he's not in the best position. Feedback seems to go down. One of the Colossus does get grabbed and gets focus fired immediately. There's still enough for, I think, 1 more abduct. No, it's just barely not enough energy. Naniwa does not have a mothership port to recall back home. He still has some power. No. Only 1 Colossus left. Force Fields do go down. That's the last of the Sentry energy. Another feedback goes down on one of the Vipers. Immortals getting as much damage as they can. There's still 5 of them, but some of them are starting to slowly fall off here. Lings being reinforced from behind, and 17 Hydros on the way. Looks like this is going to be GG from Naniwa. No backup plan, no 3rd base, and there we go. Naniwa dropping a GG there.